And yes, we're crossing over to the men's hall at Calvary Methodist Church in Adabraka, where the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values are holding a media brief on CSE. Now, they're going to be talking about the role of the United Nations and its agencies and other NGOs in the promotion and propagation of the LGBTQI agenda. They'll also be talking about the 6-point resolution by the coalition in respect of the Ghanaian response to the grand LGBTQI agenda. Stay tuned. This is Joy News.
The community has hijacked the UN system. There are several agencies in the UN system. Today, thank God for social media and Google and internet. So please, let's educate ourselves. I want to focus on the area of concern with regards to the CSE. All the UN agencies, all of them, not one single of them is exempted. All of them have one common strategic pillar. I think in the 90s, everybody was doing vision. All of them, is it by coincidence, have one strategic pillar in common, and it is diversity in sexual orientation. Diversity in sexual orientation. That is supposed to open the door for every form of sexual perversion, including bestiality. Diversity in sexual orientation. And it is important that we get to the root of this to appreciate what is going on. Thank God for this coalition. This society of Ghana and Africa is based on the God factor. Wherever you turn, God is waiting for you in our culture. Yeah? I think it was May who was talking about giving us that law. She doesn't know that the Ghana Empire predates Europe and North America. And we thrive by what we call oral tradition. We pass it on by word of mouth. And that has remained a taboo. Homosexualism and lesbianism. We are not saying it doesn't exist. We have them. They are there. But they are afraid to show up because it's a taboo. In America, polygamy is not accepted. In Africa, LGBTQ is a no-no. I'll bring a few points across because it's important that we appreciate what is going on. The God factor is the fundamental key that holds our society together. In the traditional setting, what the missionaries called idol worshippers. Do you know the meaning of God in Akan? Onyankorpon, the one true light. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. Before John's gospel was written, the Akan and the traditional society of Africa knew God as the one true light. So it's not about them. It's not about the West. It's about us. And that is what is the foundation of this coalition we have here. The Muslims are here, the Christian Council, the Pentecostal Council, Charismatic Council, Catholic bishops, traditional council, they are all here. That's 98% of the population. And as Lawyer Folk Amwani said, this is definitely going to come up as an election issue. We are apolitical, but definitely because of the youth. And listen, God said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. The dominance of the earth is in the numbers. Today, Europe and North America have 1.1 to 1.3% population growth rate. We are dealing with 2.3 to 4% population growth rate in Africa. Our population pyramid, 45% of our population is under 15 years of age. This is the most vibrant, dynamic population, youthful population in the world. Africa hosts them. And the future belongs to that generation. And one way to arrest the growth of that generation is LGBTQ through CSE. Because if 1 billion men become homosexuals, that's 2 billion men out of reproduction. And the same for women. We have to understand the fundamentals. So the UN system has been hijacked by the LGBTQ community. That's how come all of the agencies together with different strategic pillars have one pillar in common: diversity in sexual orientation. And UNFPA and UNESCO are the key pillars behind this. I picked up a few points from a lawyer in Canada. By the way, the coalition here in Ghana is not the first of its kind to rise up. In Canada, families and parents have sent out all kinds of notes to the government, petitions to abort the CSE. In Brazil, it has been aborted. In Uganda, it has been aborted. In the UK and the USA, parents are bringing petitions to the government to abort it. I think it won't be long before we join with Asia and the Arab world to send petitions to the UN to arrest this thing from the hands of UNFPA and UNESCO. You go to international conferences and they are spreading condoms all over the place. That is not life. Life is more than sex. And God used the front door for sex and the back door for rejection of feces. How can the back door become a channel for sex? How? What is the sense in this? And you see how they describe some of our cultural practices. Female circumcision, they turn it into female genital mutilation. You hear the thing and you know this is wicked. And so we have also coined a term for homosexuality because of the anal incontinence. You tear down the wall of your anus with sex, you begin to release feces without control. And so we call it sexual anal mutilation. Sam. My name is Sam. Sexual anal mutilation. So when you hear about homosexuality, that's the synonym for it. Sexual anal mutilation. Now, in the case of Ghana with this CSE, you heard the UNFPA rep talking about homegrown solution. That's an insult to the nation. I have been in that position before as country manager of the African Development Bank in charge of Sierra Leone and Liberia. You dare not speak like that to the people of a nation. That is because of the word comprehensive. That's why we are making noise. They are well-educated men. After all, hasn't Ghana produced a UN Secretary General? Give us a break, UNFPA. Give us a break and stop that cheap approach that you have adopted. We will teach you what a proper homegrown program is all about. The CSE is in the social media. The social media is awash with clips on CSE. How can you tell us that you borrow something from UNFPA and IPPF and put out the ones that are, without the explicit pictures and stuff in there and tell us it's homegrown? Nooks has spoken. They were not there. National Union of Ghanaian Students, NAGRAT as well, and so many other groups. Scripture Union is here. We have GAFES and the rest of them. We want to do a proper homegrown solution. Now listen to this briefly. This is from a lawyer in Canada who has done a wonderful summary of the CSE and the LGBTQ. And to inform you, CSE is LGBTQI in disguise. There is no difference. It's the same animal in a different shape. As I said earlier on, the entire UN system has been hijacked and taken over by the LGBTQI movement. All of them have the same strategic pillar, diversity in sexual orientation. And as I said, that opens the door for every form of sexual perversion. I saw a clip over the weekend. This thing is based on the principle of feelings. Okay, so it's not about your genetic makeup. The little biology and genetics we studied, we have 46 chromosomes, 23, X and Y. If you have two X's, you are a female. If you have two X and Y, then you are a male, isn't it? Press. X and Y male, two X's female. So the fact that you go and put in some hormones to change a little part of the body doesn't deal with the remaining genes. And by the way, they went to the Strasbourg court in France because it is supposed to be a human right, and to demand that this be made a human right. I think it was 2016 or 17. 47 judges voted unanimously that it is not a human right. BBC, CNN, shut up. They never announced it. No wonder President Trump calls them fake news. And then in addition to that, apart from this thing, there was the Human Genome Project, because they were trying to make a case that it's a genetic issue. And over 100,000 genes have been studied. Not one of them predisposes any human being to that behavior. Not one of them. And the popular press, international press, they are quiet about it. Deliberately quiet about it, because it is dominated by the LGBTQ community. Now listen to this, why we are angry. God said, male and female created he them. That's the God factor. LGBTQ today in the CSE is advocating for 15 different genders. It's not male or female any longer. Transgender, gender queer, gender variant, and I must admit to you, I don't know the meanings. In fact, I watched a clip recently in America where one advocate of LGBTQ was asked a question on one of these genders, and he didn't know. But they've listed 15 for the schools and 58 on the internet. Now let me mention a few of them to you. Transgender, gender queer, gender variant, gender non-conforming, gender questioning, non-binary, trans-female, trans-male, trans-man, trans-woman, transsexual male, transsexual female, transsexual man, transsexual woman, two-spirit. And that caught my attention. Two-spirit. Because we are all spirit beings, correct? We are primarily a spirit with a soul living in a body. Now they are saying two-spirit. So they are giving you a hint that you are inviting some foreign spirit to be part of your makeup. Two-spirit is there. Bigender. Cisgender. I don't know what that means. Agender. Androgen. Androgynous. But the total number of gender options are 58, as they have put it. So male and female created he them is thrown out. It is an agnostic, is that the right word? Philosophy. And so it doesn't have any place in this God society, God factor. Muslims, God. Christians, God. Traditional people, God. Long before they came to us with the Christian faith. Comprehensive sexuality education was created by Planned Parenthood Federation and Sexuality Information and Education Council of the United States, SEICUS, SICUS. SICUS was founded in 1964 by a former Planned Parenthood medical director and a devout follower of the extremely controversial Alfred Kinsey. So it was a natural fit for the two agencies to develop a program together. And these are the tenets. Sexual pleasure is a right. So it's now a right issue. I saw a clip over the weekend of a Somalia boy languishing in the desert, and he says, I feel I am German. I have been mistakenly born into Somalia.
And that was Dr. Samuel Onwana. He's an executive member of the coalition, speaking there about what's going on with the LGBTQI agenda. He talks about a lot of different genders that are being introduced and really the ambiguity surrounding what's going on with the UNFPA in introducing the LGBTQ agenda through CSE as is being purported. But that's all we have for you today on News Desk. And the birthday girl is coming up next, Mapitso Sabidi, and I think she'll kill me if I got her name wrong today, especially. A very happy birthday to you, Maps. And more news on myjoyonline.com. Join us again tomorrow morning. My name is Enimoa Enimado. Have an amazing Thursday.